Adi, I think you're in good company because both Elizabeth and me, we have been smeared by the press before. So we've been through the ringer. Definitely not as bad as you have, uh, but it's just a matter of time, I would think.
I mean, I think that there is a possibility that it's not just about selling papers and not even just about convicting ADDY in the court of public opinion in preparation for him to be convicted in a real court. I think there's a possibility that because the media, like all of our bloody institutions, is so infested with feminist ideology, there is a concerted effort to demonize individual men and then to extend that to all men, and then infringe on the rights of men.
Well,
I think that there is an end game going on here.
this obviously happened during hashtag Me Too. So I would assume that Addy was used as a pawn, pretty much, kind of like, well, our own little not Epstein. What's the Weinstein?
Yeah.
Not well. To be honest, like I followed the Weinstein case very closely because I find it fascinating and I like justice. And I think, from what I could see from outside the court case, I think Weinstein was falsely imprisoned because there was no evidence. I'm not saying that he was innocent, but he was imprisoned based on public opinion, not based on the court case. That's just my opinion.
I agree with that, Philip. I think that, again, I can't speak on incidents positively or negatively because I don't have real knowledge on what he done. But it was definitely trial by media. And when you have a situation that happens like that, you begin to question everything. You begin to question every allegation. And that's not a good mindset to be in. But now you have to question the motives of people that promote this type of thing, that all men are evil and kill all men, or one race is better than the other. It's there's no common sense involved, and I think that there was a lot of factors. It was like a mini version of Me Too in Scotland. Scotland's a small place. Eccentrik will know this. The First Minister is, I would say, quite the feminist.
Not just quite.
Yeah.
Well, I was being nice when I said that, and I think that it was January when the video came out. Now I gave the reporter involved, the main guy, a email response, which was totally ignored. It was ignored, and some choice words came out as, "There are no quality women in Scotland." That was not what I said. I said that the attitude of women should be that of respect towards men, and most Western cultures promote feminism, and most females in the West have a feminist perspective, and it's quite difficult to know who is an outlier and who has common sense to see beyond that conditioning. And I'm not saying it's their fault for thinking that way. It's the conditioning that they experience from their families, from society, from media. But that was the perspective I said. So they'll take like little bullets of information and turn that into a story. He hates all women. He disrespects all women. He doesn't respect women. I respect people, irrespective of their colour, of their gender. If their character is worth respecting, they have my respect. But if it isn't, then I'm not going to respect you just because of your gender or because of the colour of your skin. It's idiotic.
May I ask you? So you were a dating coach, and you just talked about respect between the genders. What is your perception of relationships, of dating nowadays? What's best for men and women nowadays? About family? What are your views in regards to that?
I'm in a committed relationship with a amazing woman that stood by me throughout this whole situation. And the reason we are in that situation is because before all this happened, she is a very feminine woman that is confident in her femininity. She is a person that is true to me, and I am true to her. And we were in this predicament because, well, before all of this happened, about a year before it happened. So the year previous to the media scandal, I was simply teaching and demonstrating. My view on relationships now for men in the West is to be really careful. I think that many dating coaches out there right now, pickup artists and dating coaches, are a little bit naive to feminism, a little bit naive to the Me Too movement and gynocentric society, and also social justice. And no disrespect to any of those guys. There's some really nice people that do this, and there's some people that may not be that nice. But I'm not here to speak on them. I'm just here to speak on the perspective. There were people that backed me up in this, and there were people that were like, "Yeah, he's wrong for doing that," and that. And in the red pill community, they'll call them purple pill guys. I think that relationships should be.
Can you explain the term purple pill guys?
Purple pill guys is basically someone that is in the know to a certain extent about gynocentric society because they have this knowledge of female nature. But there is something beyond dating coach and PUA, which I think men's rights activism covers. It is the dangers of feminism, the actuality of what is happening in society currently, that a lot of PUAs and dating coaches don't have that information.
I would actually say that there is more knowledge about that in the MGTOW community. I think in the men's rights community, there are still quite a few people in the men's rights community that are not completely red-pilled maybe in regards to feminism. But for example, I think in the men's rights movement, there is sometimes less understanding of the nature of femininity. So I think that actually PUAs, MGTOWs, men's rights activists, we can all learn from each other because we all experience different parts of our culture and the issues of our culture. That's why I think these conversations are really, really helpful. Sorry for interrupting you. Sorry.
That's fine. I agree. I think that we're all under the same umbrella and we can learn from each other. I think that if you neglect one part of the manosphere, it could result in you not having a full understanding of what's going on. Like, you should understand the dynamics between male and female, and with the red pill, MGTOW, PUA, dating coach. But then you should understand the political and social ramifications of what's going on right now. And I think that I lack that. I lack the political and social ramifications. I was thinking, if anything, there was too much love for women without protection from what could happen, and that's not. And that is not a slight on women. That is saying there is naivety involved in what's actually going on in our societal. A current societal situation. So it's not just me that was of that thinking. Currently, there's still men that are teaching dating that have that viewpoint where they feel like, yeah, just go and talk to whoever you want. And there's certain countries you shouldn't do that in, because there could be consequences. And it's not, I'm not saying that is, I understand the silliness of that statement that I've just made. You should be able to talk to whoever you want. If you are attracted to someone within the boundaries of respect and being confident, you should be able to talk to whoever you want. But these days, in a nation like the UK, where they're trying to make misogyny a hate crime, you being a man thinking you want to speak to a woman because she's attractive to you, to find out if she is compatible with you, personality-wise as well as looks-wise, could be detrimental to your reputation, your career, your freedom. So I think that what the guys are teaching right now, they should be more responsible in the way where, if you want to do that, why don't you go to a place like Eastern Europe? There's Russia, there's Poland, Ukraine. You can speak to people and they still have that common sense aspect to male and female dynamics. There's a respect there.
Would you say that women in these countries are, well, okay, that's my view, and I don't want to put any words into your mouth. I think that in some countries, women are actually more empowered and they know how to say no, and they can create their own barriers, where I feel like in some Western countries, the government now treats women as children, or it treats women and men as children, and has to protect everybody, which actually keeps people from learning how to be adults and how to set boundaries themselves.
Yeah, I mean, in the UK and a lot of Western countries, there is this whole notion of victim mentality and government handouts. So the people will say that they are victims and they will live off government handouts. They'll live within their comfort zone. I think in places like Eastern Europe, I wouldn't say that they don't know about. Oh, sorry. They know about women's rights and they know about empowerment. I think women here know about that as well, because I don't think women in the West are oppressed at all. However, in places like Eastern Europe, I think there's just more respect. There's more common sense. There's like, they don't play into the BS when it comes to social justice or feminism. There's this more human touch going on in those types of countries. And who knows if feminism and social justice will infest that place also, because, I mean, it could be a matter of time. It's everywhere. It's in the music industry. It's in movies. It's in soap operas. So it could still infest those countries. However, it just seems more natural and more, like I said, a human touch to those places.
Yeah, well, I mean, I tend to think that places like Poland, they have experienced authoritarian, totalitarian ideologies, to the point where people were losing their lives and, the whole country was being destroyed. And so I think that gives them a bit more savvy. Whereas, we've been quite lucky in recent history in the United Kingdom not to have lived under those conditions. And so we don't seem to, we certainly haven't learned the lessons of, what the USSR did in the UK.
I do completely agree that in the West, we are more free than any people have ever been, any other part of history, any other time, place in the world. We are incredibly lucky. But because we're so lucky, we've become apathetic. We take our freedoms for granted. We're not defending our liberties, and they are slowly being whittled away. Because any government, any powerful institution will always seek to erode the liberties of those at the bottom in order to make themselves more powerful. It's our job to protect them, but we just aren't. If anything, we're happily giving them away. Because
the Sun said that ADDY is a creep. So yeah, we should definitely stop men from being able to talk to women and that kind of thing.
Modern feminism tends to have the opinion that it's worth trading freedom for the feeling of being safe. And Benjamin Franklin actually spoke about this during the American War of Independence. And he said, anyone who trades freedom for safety deserves neither.
Yep.
So this is not just an issue of our time. This has always been the case, that someone will come to you and offer you safety because a cell is the safest place they can think of. And there are people willing to give up freedom to be there, and there are people who know that freedom comes with risks, but ultimately that's worth it.